super stickers? What are these super stickers? What are these? Get out of here.
Hello?
No, not hello. Huh! Almost ready. Oh, my back. No point in showing my CitizenCon ticket, is there? No, that is not. Stupid idea. People will copy it and they pretend to be BoredGamer. Though you'd have to probably be bald. Or something like that, wouldn't you? Right, get rid of this. Any secret stuff on my screen? Why is that here? Let's just do it live. I've got a cough. I've got a cold. That's what's signifying that. Do that. Oh, the top of my head's cut off. Let's work out a way of making sure my head ain't cut off. Tilt. There we go. Perfect. Now I've got top of head. Now you can see my lovely cone head. A beluga whale head. I'm a potato. Right. Let's turn that down slightly. Let's go over here. Turn that down slightly. Perfect. Yeah, that's good. Hi, how are people doing? This time next week, I will be in lovely Manchester. Hopefully, chilled out and drinking already in the future. But it's going to depend if my flight makes it on time and whether I find all the locations. So it's the day before CitizenCon. That's the 22nd, which will be next week. And then, obviously, on the Saturday is CitizenCon. I'm going as press this year. I'm collecting a thread of questions. I was supposed to put a link to my last video in my video description, which I forgot to do. Bear with me 1 second. That's what I said I was going to do. And I did not do. Videos. And then we go for most asked questions. Get shareable link. Edit Titan description. CitizenCon questions. Bam. There we go. Look at that. I'll post it here what I'm doing, so people can go and see that video, and that's where I discuss my CitizenCon questions. You're more than welcome to add any questions you would like there. Let's go here. Let's go here. No, not hello and welcome. Bad. No, that. Oh, have I not? Did I not? You're just. This is how I do my process of working out the hell's going on with my videos. I just go, ba. Is it what? So I'm just adding a description to a video, making sure it's appropriate. Bam. In. Perfect. Done. Easy. Right. Back in the game. Easy. Anyone would like to ask a question? I just type question in brackets. I'd like to show off some of the Prowler stuff. So if we go here, we saw some more stuff on the Prowler. This is some slightly older footage of the Prowler, but then it goes into the new footage. I wanted to sort of like show off the exterior and interior as it's evolved. But the Prowler's the first Navarran ship we're going to have in game, but shown off in Inside Star Citizen. They're building the interior. It looks very like a 3D printer raft, like hollow bones of a bird is sort of like part of it. It's got two levels for a pilot at the top, one on top of the other. The top one's got the components rooms in. The bottom one's more of an armory and a little jump room, and then that leads on to the main body, which is lots of marine jump chairs. So I say jump room. What I mean is seats for Marines to be able to lock themselves in and then safely travel places and then get out of those chairs and jump out of the side of the ship. But there's a very alien feel to the ship. They've got this sort of like control device which controls the whole ship just from one little joystick. I really liked the idea of the sort of like using the rafts, like almost trees, to hold the ship interior together. Well, that's pretty cool. Not so, obviously it's just faked lighting, you know, sort of like they're going to do a full lighting pass, they're going to do a full materials pass, texture pass and all that sort of stuff. At the moment it's very, 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 very basic, just to show the sort of like grey box as they're moving into the art stage and final art stages. So I like the fact that all the doors could still seal, and that there was ample room. I think it's got room for 18 people total, 2 crewmen, 16 Marines that can EVA out. All those sort of like chairs you can lock yourself into, so you're nice and safe. A little armory. I like it. I wonder what you can get in the rear. Like, are you able to get a bike so that it can go from the rear ramp? It is a ramp, isn't it? It's a ramp, that exterior door there. I'm assuming it's a ramp. I hope it's a ramp. I've said it's a ramp. Can we get a bike in there? Can we get some Tumbrel Rangers, maybe? That would be pretty cool. But the idea of the ship is that it's a focused, sort of like dropship, EVA ship. Quite stealthy, able to hover very close to things. And very suitable for space and ground combat. I really like it. Thought it was pretty cool. Hope other people like it as well. Let's get rid of that for now. Bam. What do we got here? I've got lots and lots and lots of people chatting at me. Is it too late to add questions for the dev on Discord? No. You can add it on Discord. Email me at contact@BoredGamer, or you can add it in the comments of that video that I posted that has the questions thread in it, or there's a community section on my YouTube as well, on my actual channel, which you can add there. So it's interesting. So the Tavaran ship isn't alien. It is alien, but it's alien inspired. It's the Asperia reproduction of a Tavaran Prowler. So it's been modernized and updated, but it is effectively a Tavaran ship, the first Tavaran ship we've got in game. And as far as I'm aware, each of the different sort of like races or species jump drives for quantum drives are supposed to be have different effects. Obviously, we've seen this with the Banu Defender and the human ships, but we should start to see it with the Vandal ships, and we should start to see it with potentially this Prowler. It looks like the Prowler is coming in 3.8. However, the devs did sort of like warn that there was a lot of work still to do to the Prowler, so bear that in mind. It is possible that it could get pushed back. If they only worked on announced ships, do you think they could have all the ships flyable in the position universe? Only worked on announced ships. Potentially. I mean, coulda, shoulda, woulda, mixed with unknowns and I don't knows. I mean, the way they are doing it is that they are working on ships for Squadron 42. Some of those ships are not ready for the persistent universe. So even though they worked on those announced ships, they might not be ready for the PU. They are working on other ships beyond that, but a lot of that work is concept work. So I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I do think they can work on most of the announced ships, or a lot of them, and new ships as well. I think some of the ships that you don't see in game, like the Hull C, they have technical prerequisites that they haven't solved yet, haven't finished yet. I think they were hoping to get that done last year, but they haven't yet, with the multi-grid physics tech for changing and morphing physics grids and animations, so that the ship can expand and contract, and then have cargo put on its spindles. I mean, they haven't even got cargo 2.0 properly in yet. I'd love to ask the devs why they keep pushing out new content before fixing the myriad of game-killing bugs they already have. So, Steve, the thing with staggered development, 3.8 onwards, they have said that the game should be significantly more playable, and they are supposed to be dealing with those bugs for 3.8 onwards. So we should see game-killing bugs, for the most part, or at least a large portion of them, go away for 3.8. And we should treat 3.8 accordingly and more critically because of that. Something that's significantly more playable. Something that is really Steam Early Access, sellable, playable game, rather than a pledge for an alpha. Do you see what I mean? I think that's fair. And that's how I'm going to treat it. Obviously, if it's sort of like a buggy hot mess in live 3.8, I think we'll talk and be critical and say, look, this isn't working with this sort of development cycle or whatever. But that's what they've said. CIG have said that they're going for those 6 months overlapped cycles. So they're working on, currently they'll be working on 3.8 and 3.9. And they focus on those patches when they finish 3.8. Most of the teams that were working on 3.8 will move on to 4.0. I expect some of them will help out with 3.9, and then when the guys are finished with 3.9, they move on to 4.1. So they have these overlapped cycles now. Should make for a better, more playable game. At least that's how they described it. We'll have to wait and see, though. Thanks for streaming this early. Makes my early morning commute better. Thank you very much for all the follows. That's a lot of follows. And thank you very much for Star Racing TV for the host. Very much appreciated. CIG going to tease me with Tavaran ship interiors, huh? So, it's possible that we could see a Tavaran fighter concepted at CitizenCon, or during the anniversary sale, or an alien ship of some kind. So typically, historically, although they can break from tradition quite easily, we've seen an alien ship, I think, every year. Every year? That might be an over. We saw one last year, the Santok Yai. Anyway, so I think we could see a Tavaran fighter or a larger Xi'an ship or something like that at CitizenCon. Best potato ever, thank you very much. Oh my god, people doing Tavaran bird puns. They should be illegal. Doing just one Tavaran in ship interior. We are not immused. He's trying to put the word amused and emu together. In fact, I think it's borderline illegal. That was better, Simon. But you're a monster. It's the top of my head is my sensor array. Thanks. What's my favourite flyable ship right now? I mean, I quite like the 890 Jump because it's amazing. I mean, just the most versatile is probably the Cutlass Black. I love the Cutlass Black. Love the Avenger Titan. Love the Arrow. Oh, thank you very much for the bits. Grast 5150. Thank you very much. I love your face. Very much appreciated. I will put those bits towards drinking at CitizenCon, or maybe getting a camera. If I can get money together today to get a better camera for CitizenCon, great. It's not essential. I've got some equipment which is probably more than fine. I just panic about certain things and go, well, I could do something better. I just want people to know what their donation money's going to at any given moment, because people like to donate to streams. Cool, fucking appreciated, but I want people to know what it's going towards. So thank you very much for the bits. That's what I'm trying to say. So I like the Prowler. I don't love the Prowler though, and maybe I will when it's in game and I see its textures and stuff. The same as the brand new Defender. I kind of quite like the ship, but I don't love the ship. I know my Huntress, one of my chief mod, she loves the Prowler, like her fave. Can you ask the devs if the tools they are making are viable side products to license out to other CryEngine Lumberyard devs for additional CIG revenue? So I think that after the Crytek lawsuit is done, and a little bit more time's passed, I think there is a potential they could license out tools and engine stuff. I suspect that they haven't gone, no, we're not going to do that. CIG and Star Citizen are very sort of like dynamic with that sort of stuff, and they'll go, well, if it makes sense to do that in the future, they will. I could probably ask them, are there plans to do that already at CitizenCon if I get the chance, or if something comes up as a related question. Do you think there is still enough room for the number of personnel mentioned in the initial concept? There seems to be a few harnesses in the crew. There seems to be few harnesses in the crew compartment. No, there's enough room. Let me show you. There's enough room for 16 plus 2. Let me find this video. No. And let me show you. So, where the... No. Yes? Yes. So, we've got this. So, you've got 4 double-sided seats here. So, that's 8 people. You've got 4 seats in this section. That's 12. And you've got 4 seats here. 2 on each side. So, that's 16. And then you've got another 2 dudes here. That's 18. It looks like that is correct still. Ooh. So in an hour and a half, Luke Presley is talking about mission content and that sort of stuff on Star Citizen Live. I suspect that's going to have quite a cool amount of stuff in it. Something that people probably will want to watch. I've got a cold. I'm really rough. I'm looking after my parents at the moment. I'm super fucking tired and really mega stressed. And obviously getting ready for CitizenCon has not helped. So I don't know how long I'll be streaming for today. I wanted to stream until just before CIG started, although I might just stay on for like an hour or an hour and a half or something, because I feel just super rough. I know that's most of the stuff I talk about is just like, come online, I feel tired. That's pretty much how most of my streams go. I do apologise. Rovert 66, thank you very much for the sub. Very much appreciated. Love your face. A legend. How does CIG choose and consider which ships to allow rental in-game? Same with subscriber ships of the month. So I think they allow ships based on value for rentals up to a certain sort of like level. It's also branded by the actual terminals that you rent from. So they go, this sort of like rental company focuses on this sort of rental because of whatever reasons. And then they will sort of tailor ships to that. Currently, it's probably a little bit more sort of like random than that because they haven't got all the ships in the game and it's sort of like testing out the systems and that sort of stuff and the prices. But basically what I see is that ships below a certain value will be rentable. Some ships won't be rentable, like an 890 Jump probably won't be rentable. Well, maybe it will be from like one particular rental company at a ridiculous price, but I would doubt it. Just because they're too expensive. I bet the 100 buttons that the Prowler will be... I'll bet 100 buttons. Okay, that's what you're betting. You're betting 100 buttons. That the Prowler will be used in stealth mission in Squadron 42. Quite possibly. It's possible that the Prowler is in Squadron 42 because of the prioritization of it. So, yeah, that's a strong maybe. When is MOP gameplay? MOP? MOP? What is MOP? MOP gameplay. Mr. Pandoria. Mr. Pandoria? Is that what you meant? I don't... What am I not getting from MOP gameplay? MOP gameplay. Someone can tell me what that's going on. What kind of gameplay loops do you feel the Prowler could be used for to make money in the persistent universe? Missions which require troops to board ships. So, for example, that 890 Jump mission that they've been working on for 3.8, if there's a particular tough one or there's a particularly well-armed group of pirates and it says bring lots of people, well, then you could bring the Prowler, land on a ship, take out all the people like that. Basically, missions where you require ships to drop off troops. You need ground troops or people to assault things. CIG, please add a mineable scanner to ground vehicles. I believe that is one of the things they are doing. They are going to have different types of scanner, and ground vehicles will be able to have scanners, and players on the ground will be able to have their own personal scanners as well. I believe that is still the plan. Will we have a new airlock and atmo tech with the Prowler, as the Prowler shields have to keep breathable air with the doors opened? So yeah, it's little shields come up in front of the doors. So the side doors and the rear door, they will have little like air shields, is what they're called. Oh, you want mop gameplay? Literally a mop. Because there was a mop in the background on the picture. Okay, when we get mop gameplay, they actually have added social AI, or have been working on social AI that mop the floors, as you could see. But they've worked on that more for the persistent universe as well, I believe. So you'll start to see more and more social AI with silly, well, doing jobs that you would expect, from bartenders to shop attendants, with a lot more animations and a lot more sort of like scheduling stuff, but also people cleaning up. I would have thought that ships would have been entirely catered for by Roombas. Yeah, we also do have the Xi'an driving game, don't we? The Santok Yai and the other one. Katual. That's the one. So yeah, I'm hoping they change over the quantum drive effects for them at some point. Awkward silence. I hate you. Oh my god, such bad puns. How much time do you think left for the game to be completed? Many years before the game's completed. I don't think... Well, I want CIG to produce a roadmap to completion of all the features that they currently have planned. I'd be interested to know if there is any other features, entirely new features that have previously never been discussed. I'm not talking about sort of like associated features or missions or things like that, but I'm talking about like building modular space stations. Although they have sort of discussed that. But are there any entirely new features they haven't discussed in which they're going to be putting in game? I'm interested in that. Because that is a bit of feature creep, obviously. if they do that. But I would like to see a roadmap to completion. Squadron 42 could be out as early as the end of next year, though as time goes on. I think we'll find out at CitizenCon. Is Star Citizen, is Squadron 42 the focus of CitizenCon this year? Certainly not. There's no panels directly on it. There doesn't look like there's anything specific about Squadron 42. I'm hoping that we see something in the opening keynote or the end major keynote. I would hope to see Squadron 42 sort of like start its marketing campaign. Campaign, but it's possible that CitizenCon isn't anything to do with Squadron 42 at all, and they're focusing on the persistent universe and stuff coming soon. So we'll have to wait and see what they say at CitizenCon. It's possible that they'll look at Squadron 42 later this year, sort of like towards Christmas, or maybe start to talk about it properly next year. They do need to consider getting Squadron 42 Episode 1 out the door within the next 18 months. Would be my what I'd like to see. I think when they keep on pushing that back, I mean, it's taken a long time for development of the game. They are starting to deliver a better core product, or at least starting to work on getting the core of the game out and making it more playable. But I want to see Squadron 42. I want to see that. They've been working on it for so long. And they sort of like seem to get close to it, and I just don't want to keep on seeing it get pushed back. So my hope is within the next 18 months, Squadron 42 will release. But we'll see what happens at CitizenCon. We'll see if Squadron 42 is a focus or it gets a mention at all, because it's possible that it doesn't. But I would hope that we'd get a new Squadron 42 trailer, potentially see some updated Vandal, and they'd start the Squadron 42 marketing campaign. I'd love to see a hard Squadron 42 release date, but we'll have to wait and see. Tavaran, consider my interest beaked. I hate you. Do you think the Prowler is going to be worth getting if you already have a Cutlass, which seems to serve the same purpose? I think that the Prowler will allow you to deliver a lot more people. It's got a lot of bonuses that's focused on being a dropship. So I think the Prowler is a more focused, higher tier dropship. The Cutlass is obviously very viable. I'm not sure if the Prowler is going to allow you to take much, if at all, in any way, of form of cargo. So maybe Prowlers and Cutlasses working together might be effective. How does it feel to be practically the face of Star Citizen? Like a potato? I don't think I'm the face of Star Citizen at all. I'm just a random dude on the internet. I think if anything, I prove that anyone can be a YouTuber or create content on something. I like the fact that I have people like my channel and like the news that I provide. I think that's cool. I do appreciate it a lot. I am entirely community focused and backed. That's why I've got to where I am, I think. So I do appreciate it. But I want people to make their own decisions based on the information I give them. I get stuff wrong occasionally. When I give my opinions, I get stuff wrong. But I do just report on the information I know from CIG. So some of that can be incorrect sometimes as well. Bear that in mind. I don't want people to think I'm an infallible mega source. But I do report on the news. I do try and summarise the news. And I try to keep us up to date on everything I can within Star Citizen. And I very much enjoyed it and very much enjoy being part of the community. Do you think if server-side object container streaming allowed much larger numbers of players per server, they should hold back on significantly increasing population per shard until they have a much larger player? I think it's not that mutually exclusive. So I think once they have server-side object container streaming, they can expand out the area. They're not going to immediately make servers, even if they could, 1,000 players per server. They'll ramp it up and then get to a particular level. But I like a lot more players in each server than less. But we'll talk about Chris's what was it? Informer? Was it Informer? Intelligencer article, because he does talk about server meshing and people in a single shard, and talks like they're trying to get like 4,000 to 40,000 in the shorter term with server meshing and stuff like that in game. That Star Citizen is going to be quite Second Life-y. They want it to be highly simulation-y, and for people to have great social experiences in the game. and be able to play it as sort of like their main constant game. I'll do a breakdown of that article. If you want to read that article, actually, let me link it. But basically, it's an article where they talk to Chris Roberts, and he says, Star Citizen's taking a long time. It's my vision. I want it to be an amazing game, and we're building it right. And we're going to have as many players as we can in each instance. We need server meshing for that. It's going to be this huge, beautiful, amazing world, highly detailed, and you can sort of like live on a planet, or you can fly around, or you can do these great adventures, and you can do that whether you've got 2 hours spare or a week spare. Sean Stevenson, thank you very much for the monies. Here's some cash towards your camera, mate. Hopefully see you at CitizenCon. Look forward to seeing you. Let us make sure we share a drink. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Oh, you star. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Hamish! Oh, Hamish, how you doing, dude? Hey, dude. CitizenCon can't come sooner. Can't wait to see you and that shiny noggin. It would be good to see you again, mate. So Hamish is one of my good IRL mates. I haven't seen him for ages. Was it 2015 the last time we met up for the last CitizenCon? Is that the last time I saw you? Oh my god, I'm a monster. I'm sorry, Hamish. I'm the worst. I don't get out of the house much. You're a star, though. I do love your face, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. You coming down the day before? You're going to be around the day before. I hope they release the Prowler soon. A Tavaran ship is better than 2 in development. Oh my god. A Tavaran ship in release is better than 2 in development. That is a slightly more obscure pun, but fuck you. How about that? These Tavaran jokes are foul. Do you think Tavaran dropships have little bird feeders hanging with nuts and seeds for Tavaran Marines? I don't think there's that many Tavaran Marines. I think the Tavaran are... they're not extinct or anything, but they are they've been subjugated heavily by the UEE, and they're not abundant as a race. Don't you think the Prowler would be better if that ship could deploy 1 Titan armor at least? I mean, that would be awesome. Potentially. I think it's focused more on EVA delivery of troops. Maybe there'll be modules so that you can take a Titan in it. Maybe the rear section allows for a Titan armor suit there. I think CIG might be winging it. Oh, and that's what people keep on taloning in me. Oh. Where can I get row potatoes in game? You can't yet, Big Tater, but you will be able to turn... Well, they talked about being able to change the topsoil in planets. Be able to plant potentially potatoes and do farming. There's going to be biodomes that you can get on the Endeavour, probably other ships as well in the future. And you'll be able to build outposts and stuff with that in mind, I believe. We haven't seen much of Chris lately, almost a whole year. Why do you think that is? Because he's working on the game, and because he's sort of like a reasonably high-level CEO now. So he did the intelligence article, where it's good that he's come out and chatted about Star Citizen a bit more. He hasn't come out. I mean, I think I put the punctuation incorrect there. But we'll see him at CitizenCon, obviously, as well. So I don't want to keep on... I mean, I like hearing from Chris. And we see him in quite often in the... Do we see him in? Will they do Pillow Talk or Pillar Talk? Do we see Chris there? We saw him for the original one. So we'll occasionally see Chris in Pillar Talk, I suspect, rather than just Aaron. But I want them to be working on the game. I'm fine for Tony Zorovic or people that are working on, or like Luke Presley and stuff, to keep on telling me what's going on with the game, because they will tell us what's going on with much more sort of like specifics of the game. Whereas sort of like Chris Roberts now, he's the check man. I'm not talking about just giving out checks to the employees. I'm talking about he looks at everything and makes sure that it's in line with his vision. And that's most of his time is going to be spent on yes, no, yes, no. There's the problem with this. I want the thrusters to be more and these to be more like that. That's how I envision what Chris does as a job. Okay. What do you think of the Sabre getting buffed to 4 shield generators and 3 power plants? And how will it remain stealth with this many shields? I haven't checked the updates to the Sabre, to be honest. I don't know what its buff was like. So the Sabre and any ship can be stealthy if you manage its systems well. The Sabre's obviously got a reasonably good focus on being more stealthy than another medium fighter. But it doesn't mean it's a focused stealth ship. It's not a focused stealth ship. It's just a bit more stealthy than a Super Hornet. That's the way I see it anyway. Do you think the Prowler fuel tank should be at least medium size? It has small range and it's too big to be carried around. Yeah, so I would like to see the Prowler have a longer operating range than on paper it suggests at the moment. 100%. But it might have. So they've talked about batteries and power plants providing fuel to some ground vehicles and stuff. I'm expecting that like Tavaran ships and some of the Gravlev stuff might do the same. So maybe they'll have to go around, well, its operating range isn't great with fuel, but it's got power plant stuff and it can use this instead of fuel. They do need to give us a bit more information on that stuff because they've talked about batteries and that providing power before, but we don't know to what extent. What segment of Star Citizen will you ask about if you have a chance to talk to Chris Roberts? Oh, I don't know. I haven't gone through all the questions yet. I need to go through the questions again and compile a list down. People will have better ideas than I do. So I'm very much aware that I'm very good at reactionary questions. So I'll see something and go, this should be asked. But formulation of questions, I think that leaving it to the masses has been a smarter idea. I've got a huge list of questions at the moment that I just need to compile down more and more and more. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to ask him questions about how he had to compromise his vision for getting a game out, and would he happily keep the game in development for another 20 years if it meant he could get his game out the way he wanted, or does he understand, or does he want to get these games moving? So what's the balance there? Is he happy just to go on forever until the game's perfect, or if he had the chance to do that, if he had infinite funding, or would he, or does he understand or want to get the game out in a timely fashion as well? That sort of stuff I would like to know. Hey man, first of all, hope you are all good with you and your family. Good, just a bit tired. Lots of stuff to do. When can we buy all items that we already have in game? Right, core and add a second turret, but we can't buy it yet. When can we buy all items that we already have in game? Don't know what you mean by that. You can buy some ships in game now, you can rent some ships in game now, and you can buy some components in game now. They're not persistent between patches. I hope that very soon Alpha UBC and Alpha UBC purchases will be persistent. There's a potential it could be from 3.8 onwards. That is a hope. Robert Johnston, you are what I would describe as a mad lad. Oh, what do I do with this? I mean, I know what to do with it. I have money. Robert Johnston sends me lots of money constantly on streams. I mean, to be honest, Robert, you could fund my stream entirely by yourself and make it worth my while streaming whenever I stream. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. If you talk to Josh Coons, I'm assuming, ask him if the Phoenix is ever going to get a bathroom and escape pods for the VIPs. I could ask, mate, you paid so much you can ask any fucking question you want. I'll add it to my list. I will go out and seek Josh Coons for you and go, Josh, you may not know me, but I have questions for you. Is the Phoenix going to get a bathroom and escape pods for VIPs? Tell me. I will add it to my list, mate. Don't you fucking worry. You give me silly money, you get to ask any questions you want. Why isn't this pasted into my document? There we go. It has now. Thank you so much. Very much appreciated. That's what I think about that. You think the Vulture will be shown, or the salvage mechanic? I'd love it if it was. I haven't had any inklings that salvage or the Vulture will be shown. but it's a possibility. What kind of alcohol do they offer at CitizenCon? Any good? I don't know. I believe there is alcohol available in the venue. I haven't actually researched it. I would expect it to be relatively mid to low tier alcohol. Nothing amazing. I mean, it's doubtful that it's going to have a great whiskey or rum selection, but it'll probably be fine as long as it's got a couple of ciders and taps. Oh, Robert Johnston is chucking more money in. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. No message this time. Do you mean to type a message? You can say anything you want. I love you. So, at the moment, I'm trying to... Tomorrow evening, for my time, I'm trying to fit in showing another YouTuber around on live stream around the Persistent Universe, and sort of like a tourist. I'm trying to get Maya to help me as well if he's free, because Maya was going to go to TwitchCon London, but it says he might be free now, which would be awesome. I'm so tired. My eyes hurt so much. I can describe it. They hurt a lot. I find it hard to keep them open. I'm not that sort of traditional tired that I need to sleep, but I'd like to close my eyes and listen to an audiobook for 4 hours while pretending that I'm asleep. And I've still got to do a video on the Intelligencer article, like the Chris Roberts interview. There's going to be a huge amount of interesting information from Luke Presley in Star Citizen Live. There's obviously going to be the newsletter and that sort of stuff coming out later tonight as well. And I'm looking after my family at the moment, and I've got to get ready for CitizenCon, and I'm planning Christmas because I'm cooking for my family at Christmas, and I need to get all the stuff sorted for that because it needs to be high tier. But yeah, so very busy, trying to get that sorted as well. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done, and I'll be live tomorrow at 8 PM. Maybe not on my channel, maybe on someone else's, maybe both. But I'll tweet that, assuming it gets all set up properly. Otherwise, I'll have to reschedule with the gentleman in question. It's a YouTuber that does the Down the Rabbit Hole series. He's quite big. I watched some of his stuff previously. So I was like, oh. He contacted me and said he wanted someone to take him around the verse. And I was like, oh, I will happily take you around the verse. But it's been a bit sort of like overly taxing recently. I know I have a very privileged, great job, and I'm in a very privileged position where I am. I'm just tired, and I like complaining. What hurdles are left to overcome before we can see other systems, capital ships, and more players in the PE? So, server-side object container streaming, which they've been working on, allows them to have a lot more server efficiency, which is essential. Server meshing is a prerequisite for other systems, star systems. Capital ships with enough network optimizations, which is all part of those two things we just talked about, server-side object container streaming and server meshing, or at least they'll be doing them at the same time. They sort of like need to get those done to have more capital ships in game. The 890 Jump basically is a capital ship, but the Idris and the Javelin, which are probably done, if not mostly done, they sort of like look like they're holding them back to coincide with a Squadron 42 Episode 1 release, because they're obviously ships that premiere there. And then we'll see more and more players in the Persistent Universe. Potentially with server-side object container streaming, we might see more players in servers. Potentially up to 100, I suppose. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, it's very possible that Squadron 42 makes use of that Prowler. Oh, don't be so modest, Bored. I think your channel is excellent. Oh. I'm a Tavaran. I'm just an unhatched Tavaran. That's what it is. Didn't Sandy say something about a Christmas party to announce Squadron 42 release? Yeah, so Montoya and Batgirl said something, that they overheard something last year. Thank you for getting things wrong sometimes. I mean, it does. I report on the news, and then I talk about rumors and leaks and stuff like that as well. So I'm going to get stuff wrong sometimes, and some of the news information, like especially to do with roadmaps, is going to be wrong or turn out to be inaccurate. But it's as accurate as it can be at the time. You see what I mean? And I'm happy to take responsibility for that. I'm happy to go, yeah, wasn't accurate. I'm aware of that. I think that's important. I got duped by that Prowler leak. Someone sent loads of different people actually. 3 different people sent me a leak within an hour of each other. One of them is a source that I know is pretty solid for information. They sent me all this information about Pyro and a picture of it. And I went, okay, that's cool. Yeah, did a video on it, and it turns out that it was actually apparently a planet from Star Wars. That had been like rotated and edited and stuff, and then placed in there, and someone was doing it for they were working on a brochure or some art or something, and I got duped by that. So I do get stuff wrong sometimes. I do a level of due diligence, but not enough. Clearly, sometimes. Do you fly the glaive? Sometimes, but very rarely. Do you find the guns underpowered? I couldn't tell you to a high degree if I found them underpowered or not. I've been flying a load in the Mustang Alpha recently with just 2 guns, 4 guns more recently, but yeah, so I would expect the Vandal weapons aren't balanced properly yet. What is your favourite planet or moon in game right now? Hurston is my favourite planet. I love Hurston. It's got a good mix of biomes on it, and I think it's really cool. Daymar's quite cool as a moon, but yeah, Hurston by far. I mean, it's got a huge sort of like diverse biome range. It's got some trees and green on it as well. Every time I board the tram at ArcCorp, I wonder if the sitting passenger is bored. What? I think it's me sometimes. What's your favourite ship of 2019? What is my favourite ship of 2019? That is a question. That is certainly a question. Development ship matrix. You're talking about ones that have been constant. I suppose any ship that's come out. So what did we started the year with the SRV, didn't we? SRV, then the Corsair, then the Rangers, the Blister, the Nautilus, and then the Mantis. I think my favourite this year, probably the Nautilus so far. I like the idea of a mining ship. It's a cool looking ship. It's pretty cool. Cool ship. I asked this before, but do you think we need another carrier in game for player purchase? Bengal, Pegasus are not purchasable, and Kraken is only good for mining operations and such. Why is it only good for mining operations? It's good for small to medium fleets and medium ships. Obviously, it hasn't got landing pads for large ships on it. I think you can use the Kraken for a huge range of things. Maybe, I don't think we need another carrier, but I think we're going to see a huge amount more ships in the next 10 years for Star Citizen beyond what it actually needs. Sort of like ships that do cross over for each other. Probably ships that not do exactly the same thing. They might do it in a different way, or they might be better at it some bits or than others, or they do it significantly worse but are cheaper and things like that. So yeah, I think we certainly could see more in-game civilian affordable carriers. Are you going to live? Are you going to live stream from the second stage? Anything? So I will do what I can while I'm there. I do not know exactly my restrictions and limits yet at CitizenCon. I'll make sure that I have some mobile data so I can stream from there. I won't have access to their internet there, so my streaming stuff will have to be dependent on whether I get a signal. I'll definitely do recording while I'm there. I'll see what I can do for the second stage. And generally streaming while I'm there. There might be, originally I know they had some sort of like, they were worried about interference from other people streaming and that sort of stuff as well, so we'll have to wait and see. Do you think they will progress the Port Olisar Voices gameplay soon? Yeah, so they've talked about this and they said that it's, is it CitizenCon based stuff, and there's a Grave of Justice and this sort of stuff. That might be teasers towards what's happening at CitizenCon. Do you think this link will ever happen? I can't see the link, unfortunately. Maybe I can. You want lots of my clone minions running around? Oh god. Hamish, I'm travelling up on Friday, but we'll be staying outside of Manchester. I'll be in Manchester Saturday morning, so if you are grabbing brekkie anywhere, be cool to meet. Yes, no worries. Can you message me your phone number again? Email me or whatever. Richard@BoredGamer.co.uk will get straight through to me, Hamish, and I'll chuck it on my phone and I'll drop you a message. So, thank you very much. Good man. What percentage of development bottleneck do you believe is due to tech challenges, initial scope, feature creep, and 3D assets? I think there isn't a huge amount of bottleneck in the same way that you might think there is, because they can just reallocate people to different tasks. I think there is prerequisited stuff that isn't complete, which prevents some stuff being developed, but it doesn't bottleneck it in the same way. Do you see what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that they're waiting on. Video game CEOs should learn from 2019 Chris and stop getting their feet in their mouths. Yeah, maybe. I mean, Chris is obviously a lot better than he used to be. I mean, he's better than like Randy Pitchford and people like that, certainly. I do like Chris. I like his vision, and he doesn't seem like see you next Tuesday. So, do you think we'll get an update on the Polaris? I'm planning to ask about updates from the Polaris at CitizenCon. Are the Tavaran used by UE as shock troops? I don't think so. I think that would be great, would it? I wonder what sort of like level of integration there is. What else have we got here? Does Chris Roberts typically go to Bar Citizens? I've seen him at a couple, but only when there's been like a CitizenCon or a major event. I'm not sure if typically is correct. I'm not sure. He almost certainly will go to if there's a Bar Citizen after CitizenCon, he will. I'd hope to see him in the official pre-party as well. It'd be great, but he might be busy. What would you like his second Tavaran ship to be? A Tavaran fighter. 100% a Tavaran fighter. And I'd want them to be sort of like maybe fighter bombers that are very sort of like dive bombery, sort of like slightly more rammy, or zoom and boom sort of ships. 40,000 players per instance. He sort of suggested that's what he wanted. I mean, and the thing with dynamic server meshing is that they potentially could have every player in the game as long as they can artificially restrict players in a single tiny space, because then servers will spin up based on player population in the area. Yes, I know. Yeah. I've only just come down to where people are praising Robert Johnson for chucking money at me. I like when people throw money at me. Now people are going, "Yay! Give him money." Oh, I do appreciate it. Do bathrooms have any purpose outside of NPC requirements and player requirements? Other than that, no. I mean, hygiene will be tracked with the player status system coming, and that will affect your stamina and the way NPCs react to you. What's the old saying? A Star Citizen is money is soon parted. Tell you what, I've made a lot of money from covering Star Citizen. Not a CIG shill, and my own channel shill. Will you be at Bar Citizen? Yes, I'll be there the day before, on the 22nd. And if there's a Bar Citizen after CitizenCon, as long as I am not absolutely destroyed, then yes, I will be at the Bar Citizen afterwards. Almost certainly be at the Bar Citizen afterwards. What are you going to cook for Xmas? I need inspiration. So I'm doing, I'm roasting a piece of picanha, which is beef, as well as doing a bronze turkey. So I'm doing people that don't want turkey or people that want beef and turkey. I've got that. I'm going to then do traditional sort of like stuff with that. Pigs and blankets. I've got one of the best butchers in the UK. I'm near my house, so I can get the sausages and bacon there. I'll be doing some form of turkey gravy. I'm not sure if I'll do anything specific beef gravy wise. I'll be doing a pudding called the chocolate dream cloud, which is a family like recipe, which is a nice sort of like chocolatey mousse. Although I'm not sure how it's going to fare with the changes from Cadbury's now that is it Kraft taking them over, but the shitty American company's taking them over. They don't do chocolate in the same way properly. In America, you need stabilizers and things to keep the chocolate from melting. In the UK, we don't need that because we don't have such a hot climate. But they've now changed it, so we're using that shit. So chocolate doesn't taste as good. Anyway, what else? Christmas pudding. My dad's done that already. Does Christmas pudding every year. And then a big selection of Christmas vegetables. Pretty simple. I'm still working out exactly what I'm doing for Christmas, which is one of the things I need to make sure I've got everything ordered. Make sure I've double checked what I actually want to get. Obviously, I'll be doing stuffing. It'll be some sort of chestnut stuffing. I'm a chef, so I'll be doing all of it myself. Other than the sausage meat, I'll be doing everything myself. I'm actually like producing the turkey. I don't think I have it in me to pump out a turkey. Ask about any Polaris progress. Yes, it's on my list. See, Robert Johnson knows. Can you ask ship devs if there are plans to implement alien weapon attachments so ships like the Glaive are able to equip human weapons? Yes, I can. Are there weapon restrictions beyond size and power requirements for alien human ships? I'll write that question a lot better in the future. Just need it in my notes at the moment. It'd be amazing if Squadron 42 does, episode 1 does get released next year. It is a hope more than an expectation at the moment, though. Are you done with starting with a Stardust ship series? No. I need to contact with Twerk. I'll do that in a minute. Sorry, Salty Mike. And we need to... I suppose it's expanding. It's not a starter ship anymore. We're now going to be in a multi-cruise ship together. So that section of the series, yes, it's basically done. And now we're moving on to the next part, the next chapter, which will be us in a multi-cruise ship, a freelancer, I think, is what people are voting for at the moment. And then we're going to be doing some missions together. Do you think the Prowler will be able to hitch rides on the hulls of other ships, possibly in Quantum Travel 2? It's suggested that it can do something like that, like hug really close to the hulls of ships and like limp it onto them almost. Although I do believe they said that it couldn't limp it. But sounds like it can get very close to ships without being detected. For the economy, can you ask if they've considered commodity warehouses and storage capacities? Yes, they said you could. They wanted the ability for players to be able to rent varying capacities and more capacity at certain landing zones. I would imagine that due to distances involved in space shipping, these would be huge. Yeah. What's your opinion on the, in my opinion, overpriced t-shirts and button-up shirts at CitizenCon? Well, I probably won't be buying one because they're so expensive. I think it's a bit of a slap in the face for backers. It's merch. It can be overpriced for like I don't care. I just don't buy it. Do we know what... I mean, I'd buy a load of the digital goodies packs if they were $10 each, but they're $15 each. I don't want to encourage that sort of behaviour, so I'm not buying them. Do we know what variant or variants the Starlifter will release with? No, we're not even sure what version of the Starlifter is going to be released in 4.0. So I would assume it's the C2 Hercules, but I don't know that for sure, and it could be all of them. When you said more money but no message, it was an animated super sticker. How can I get that on my thing? I want to see animated super stickers. I'm sorry, Robert Johnston. I'm sorry you wasted 3 of your New Zealand dollars on me. No refunds. where we get Angry Birds minigame with a Tavaran flavour. Oh my god, that is such a good idea. As long as other people saw the sticker, that's the main thing, right? Do you think the new Vandal, like the Stinger, will go on sale soon? I think the Stinger's probably the only other Vandal ship that Asperia might make a reproduction of, because it's the heavy fighter. So maybe something we could see at CitizenCon as well, I suppose. Prowler is one of the most skilled ships in game, potentially. We'll have to wait and see. Need it to be in our hands, and we need physicalized components, and we need the physical damage system, and we need stealth scanning and passive detection, all that sort of stuff, all to be worked out and worked through and in game properly. I know in the past they have said that there won't be a hard release date. However, what systems would you have in game? What systems would have to be in game for you to say that it's been released? It needs to be feature complete, really. Beta feature complete. And they need to list a roadmap to completion. So I want a roadmap to completion for Star Citizen. Do you think we'll see any other new ships this CitizenCon? Or will the Carrack be big enough, hype-wise, to not need a new ship? So there's new ships of CitizenCon. There is a panel specifically about the new ships shown at CitizenCon. I would expect to see the Carrack. I'd expect to see the Pisces, its snub, and then an Anvil, another Anvil sort of like ship, potentially a big Anvil ship, carrier, or something special, and then probably some other stuff, an alien ship. They're putting the Anniversary Expo and CitizenCon together this time, so I'd expect to see a lot. Maybe not just at CitizenCon, maybe throughout the Anniversary sale as well. Do you think there will be something life-sized at CitizenCon, like a Titan suit? Lol, I wish, lol. They might bring the Dragonfly that they had last year, which is almost full-size Dragonfly. People could ride on, well, sit on. Brimstone, I will bring my company iPad. You can borrow the hotspot free data. Thank you very much. If mine's not working, fucking win. I appreciate that. That I won't hold you to it, though. When's the next episode of the series coming out? I don't know. It's not been recorded yet. So I'll talk to Tobacco in a minute. And we'll get it planned. I think we're supposed to film on Wednesday, but I was busy. Me letting him down, very much so. Imagine that at CitizenCon, Chris randomly shows up and says, Star Citizen, including the live verse, will be done in the next 3 years. Fantastic. I wouldn't believe him if he said that. He's not traditionally great with hard dates, is he? It needs a lot more work than that, in my opinion. They could certainly have something approaching a beta by that time, but something that's much more feature complete. But I still wouldn't say it's done. I mean, they don't have to get more than like 10 systems out or so for me to consider it for it to consider released. But they do need to get all of the mechanics they said they wanted in game. They can certainly get all the core features in game and then add more and more science and exploration features later and have something that they could have fully persistent and would be mainstream as a game. My freelancer miss got blown up by an Aurora LN in Pirate Swarm rather fast. I was told it's a bug due to shield holes, but did the NPC also go back to their 2.6 difficulty? They are more difficult in the latest 3.7.1 patch. And in Pirate Swarm, they've updated it. So they are harder. But your ship is bugged. So always follow your videos and love it. Thank you very much, Robert P. Only place that is a great info stream for Star Citizen. When their official stuff's pretty good. And there are other great content providers. I mean, Super Mac Brothers, Salty Mike, Nubafire, Youngbloods, and Tactical Advance, even when they cover it. So thank you very much. Keep it up. Don't let anyone get you down. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. Been playing a lot of Legends of Runeterra recently as well. I really like card games. So, do you think they get a chance to? Do you think you will get a chance to review the Constellation Delta Alpha grips? Potentially. I love the Constellation Delta ones that I've used. both joystick and HOTAS. They're absolutely fantastic. The new ones, I don't see how they could be better than the Constellation Deltas that I've tried, but I will check out the alphas. I might give Verpal a poke or grab some. I don't see them getting much of a boost from sending me stuff. You see, like, I don't mind people sending me stuff for free and getting me to review it. It won't affect my review. You sending me stuff for free, unfortunately. I'll say how it is. I'll say I got them for free or whatever. But people like Noobfur, they can do much better because they will give full review of a product. And typically they like stuff like that. Me, I sort of like go, I can use my mouse and keyboard, or I can use other ones. Although the Verpal Constellation Delta is the best HOTAS I've ever used. Or best as a HOTAS. Do you think there will be any information on the Redeemer this CitizenCon? It is on my list of things to ask. I would hope to see an update on the Redeemer. Maybe not at CitizenCon. So some ship updates might not be appropriate for CitizenCon. Might be something they might want to do during the anniversary, or towards Christmas. STR Youngblood said the Max has more DPS than the base Freelancer. Did he misspeak, or am I overlooking something? His videos are always solid like yours. However, I cannot figure it out. So the I think it's got the same firepower, hasn't it? It will also, Dini, it will also be rebalanced and tweaked and stuff. I think the Max has more potential to have more firepower because it's got the ability to have better components, as I believe. But I don't know. I don't know for sure anymore because stuff's to get balanced and changed, isn't it? I have to do research, double check, and mess around with them. Do you think we'll get a ground mining vehicle? Yes, I do. And a ground sort of like carry cargo vehicle as well. When is 3.8 coming out? 3.8 should be coming out mid-December. Or mid to late December. How much cargo space do you think the character have? I mean, people are saying around 1,000 SCU. I'll wait. I don't know, because it's been changed a couple of times. An appropriate amount for its size. The Orion Light Fighter called the Pekka. Oh my god. What would you call a Tavaran Light Fighter? A Hawk? Oh wait, no. What would you call a Tavaran Light Fighter? Falcon? Or the Prowler? Maybe they don't want bird names. Hunter? Predator? Something like that? For a fighter? Dark chocolate or white chocolate? Not white chocolate. White chocolate is monstrous. I like milk to dark chocolate. You get some very delicious super dark chocolate. You get some very delicious milk chocolate. What do you think the next concept ship will be? And when do you think it will be? CitizenCon, I think it will be. I think we'll see a large anvil ship. I think we'll see another alien ship. I think we could see lots more. Is Brexit over? Not yet. They are trying to have a general election at the moment to then work out what's going on with it. Because then whoever's the new government will have more seats, hopefully, to be able to push through any legislation they want for whatever they want. Any progress on the Orion? No, it's doubled in size, it's huge, but we haven't heard anything. It's on my list of things to ask, though. What do you think types of manufacturing, or aka crafting, there will be? So, I'm not sure what level of player crafting and manufacture we will have in game. They've talked briefly about some, sort of like converting data into, or scans and stuff like that, into usable data that you can sell. So locational data and things like that. That's not crafting, but sort of like on the same lines. You'll be able to like potentially pick up plants and make them into drugs. That's sort of talked about that. You'll be able to refine quantum, sort of like fuel type stuff into proper quantum fuel. So you'll be able to mine that. You'll be able to refine different minerals and stuff like that into different types of mineral, more valuable, smaller quantities. Typically smaller quantities anyway. I mean, some stuff might expand, who knows. But we really need ways of being self-sufficient in non-UEE territory. So you couple of systems out in enemy territory, you've got a plot of land, an outpost. You don't want to have to keep on going back to UEE territory to refuel, rearm, and repair. It might be entirely prohibitive or crazy to do that. So you're going to need ways, in my opinion, to be able to create fuel, to be able to rearm, repair yourself without in a self-sufficient way, and be able to create munitions and stuff like that. So and then that has the side effect of when you are trying to fight an organization or a pirate base or whatever, you want to take out their base. Because when you've taken out their base, they're no longer self-sufficient in that area, and they will have to move on or create a new base. So I really like that. What else have we got? I like the fact you're telling me your name, Houdini, as phonetically as possible. Hyundai, as I occasionally called you. In a previous video, but there's also going to be farming and lots of other types of manufacture potentially in games, so we'll have to wait and see. I mean, that's a lot of I have to wait and see. Hopefully, Tony Zarovic will talk more about potential manufacturing and crafting at CitizenCon this year. It's one of my top lists of questions. In a previous video, you spoke of a vote of the player community that influenced the game. Could you elaborate on this and maybe give a link to the article that talks about this? I don't have links here with me for that. Basically, there's multiple ways that players influence the game. Okay, so there's the issue council, so review, put bugs there, and then help prioritize bugs there, and add to people that have already found bugs and say, yes, I can replicate this, and this is how it presents for me. There's also threads, which they have very often on the general spectrum, which will have what do you think about this particular mechanic? Have you tried this mechanic? What about the flight model? Problems, regression, issues with bugs. So you'll have your say on individual mechanics when they ask for them. There was further ago, a while ago, last year or 2 years ago, they asked about what mechanics people wanted to see in game in sort of like what order, and they had sort of like salvage and that sort of thing there. They've had it where players help influence what the next ships are called and what the next type of ship is. Hence why we've got things like the Kraken in game and the Vulture as well. So there's quite a lot, and they do that quite often. I would like to actually see it more from patch to patch, even if they're just using it as advisory information. It gets more community sort of like involvement, and it gives them more of an idea of what ships are popular, what mechanics are popular. I know CIG are focusing mainly on Squadron 42 at the moment, but I'd like to see as much interaction as possible. What type of ship or vehicle do you miss in the game, and would you like to see, at least in concept next year? Military ground vehicles, so a light tank, APCs, stuff like that. A salvage vehicle on the ground, a mining vehicle on the ground, repair vehicle that can drag other vehicles, cargo vehicle, lots of stuff like that. Hey bro, do you on my guide to the galaxy? What is up with hangar spaces? Are they broke? What? We're gonna have physicalized hangars at some point. There's gonna be public hangars, and there's gonna be private rentable hangars as well, as far as I understand it, at some point in the future. Where can I buy the neutron laser repeater in the Persistent Universe? Is it not at Center Mass? I have not checked. The NDB-30 neutron laser repeater. I assumed it was at Center Mass, as most of them are on ArcCorp. What are your thoughts on the Prowler almost being a direct copy of the Copperhead transporter from the film Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within? I suspect it's heavily influenced by that. Let's have a look. Copperhead transporter. Everything is relatively influenced by other. So bring this up on my desktop. So that is very similar, isn't it? Very similar. But then it's very similar to a load of 40k spaceships and stuff like that as well. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty similar. I mean, the interior is going to be heavily different. They've added a door. The shape is a bit different and stuff like that. I mean, it is similar. It's similar shapeology, but it's spaceships, isn't it? Come on. They're all pretty similar. Or when you make one, it's going to be like, well, this one looks like this. The Vulture looks like the other thing in the Eve, doesn't it? I don't care too much. But stuff's heavily influenced by other things. If they're identical, then I'd be like, oh. But they're pretty similar. Is alien weapon mount still a thing? Could you ask devs if we're able to equip human weapons on its spirit ships? Yeah. I've got that in my list of things to ask. I would expect that some ships will probably have prohibitive slots, but others won't. Question, do you think there are enough landing pads for when the game is fully released? When these landing zones increase the huge increase of traffic? So they'll have charges and fees for landing zones. They're going to have private hangars as well. There's potentially going to be waiting times for ships. They can artificially slow traffic down in areas pretty easily. And they'll make it as well that there's stations in orbit, so a lot of the time you're not going to want to go down to a planet's surface. And they'll have NPC sort of like Genesis Starliners and stuff taking off to take you places as well. Do you know why the Big Benny's vending machine hangar flare still isn't purchasable in the substore? No, I don't. It might be because it was more of a promo one, but they'll probably add it later. Will the character be able to deploy a Titan suit and or a Blister Nova Tonk? I don't know for sure. I would expect it to be able to deploy a Titan suit, but I wouldn't expect it to be able to deploy a Nova or a Blister. You're right, Sci-Fi. Thank you very much for joining me. If ships won't be for sale after full release, how many more anniversary sales do you expect we'll have? I think they'll. I mean, I still think we'll see ship sales after release. I think we'll see packages for ships up to like the Constellation level go on sale still. They probably will remove the all ships being available just to buy, but they'll probably still have cash sales for like concept ships they make. We'll have to wait and see though. I mean, you're gonna be able to buy in-game currency, so it's the same anyway. Bored, are you worried about copper? No, because I don't make content for kids. It's as simple as that. Read all the stuff about it. I don't make stuff for kids. The target of Star Citizen isn't for kids. You need a credit card to even buy the game. If I was covering Minecraft, I might worry a bit more. But I cover a game that is a more adult-themed game for people that require credit cards. Yeah, it's not. Children are not the target audience for my videos or for the game, so sort of irrelevant to me. I'm worried about COPA and the general destruction of YouTube and more authoritarian practices by YouTube and countries that's enforcing that with YouTube. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it personally affecting my channel, but I am worried about it affecting YouTube and other creators that I watch. Do you think socks or parts of it will be released in 3.8, so server-side object container streaming? I think that there'll be more optimizations, and there's a potential that server-side object container streaming could come with 3.8. They really need some more optimizations for the servers to allow for microtech to be in-game. Do you think there's something planned for 4.0 to make it a significant patch? Maybe some sort of persistence or jump points? I think there's something significant planned for each patch. They did sort of like... I think they're trying to push so that there's something big in 4.0, so they can go, and there was this that was big, or something hidden or secret or whatever. Where the hell is the Redeemer? We're all waiting for the Redeemer to update. Do you think an Alliance ship will go straight to flyable? Yes, I think we'll see some straight to flyable ships at CitizenCon. Thanks, Simon. I got confused by Mustafa, the lion in Lion King. Oh, the Hunter is the Vandal Destroyer, isn't it? They can't call the Tavaran ship the Hunter. And they don't seem to name them after birds of prey, because that would be a human thing to do. But for the Prowler, so you'd have the Predator's a good one, I think. The Apex. Something like that. Talon's a good one. Do you think Crusader Industries will expand to other ships outside of transporters, cargo runners? Yeah, I think there'll be more Crusader Industries ships, in the future. And they potentially will get something slightly out of their mainstream purview. Nox, Dragonfly, Ranger, Fish, and Chips. What? How far away are we from the Mercury? That's a good question. I was expecting it before the Hercules Star Runner came out, which is coming out in 4.0, the Star Runner. No, so the Star Lifter. The Hercules Star Lifter. The Mercury is the Star Runner. But the Mercury is not on the roadmap currently. It could come at the same time on 4.0. It might have been reprioritized. It's a question I will be asking. And I'm hoping that we see it at the same time or before. What's your opinion on the Freelancer versus the Cutlass? I prefer the Cutlass. Just the way it looks, and it's just cheaper. A large mobile resupply ship, that's a possibility as well. I mean, the Kraken does semi-solve that, but they could do it in a different way. There's been some data mined information referencing Prowler, and there was some system folders that showed by mistake during a Star Citizen Live. Do you think we might actually see both systems? Yeah, I think we could see Pyro system, we could see Magnus, we could see Nyx, we could see them working their way to the Odin system, potentially. I think we'll almost certainly see Pyro and some new mission gameplay and jump points at CitizenCon. Have you heard if CIG may or may not be thinking about adding cooking and recipes to light survival mechanics? Space turkey with all the trimmings. So we are going to be able to collect and harvest materials and eat them. Some stuff's going to be edible. There are kitchens on some of the ships. I don't know. I would expect... I mean, Star Citizen is moving towards that, it looks like. So potentially there would be crafting and cooking and fishing and all that sort of shit. A long time ago, there was talk of having to manually load your cargo. Do you know much about this? So they've been working on ways of moving cargo in Cargo 2.0. They've got a cargo timer system in 3.9, I think. Let me bring this up on screen to show you, so I don't get it as wrong as I might. They've got commodity transfer timers, so basically for loading and unloading cargo on your ships now, there will be a time to complete and cost associated with that, potentially. So you buy stuff, bam, it doesn't just teleport into your ship, is the idea. But they want ways of moving cargo manually. They want ways of being able to loot cargo from other ships, move it between ships. So they are doing stuff with that. I just don't know to what extent and when. So 3.9 is a step towards that, I suppose. And we do know that bartenders will be able to make you drinks. I would expect you both to buy different types of food and potentially even see animated chefs making random bullshit food. Do you know what motivated CIG to move to Lumberyard from CryEngine? I can assume a lot of stuff. CryEngine were in dire financial straits. Lumberyard are backed by Amazon. They had more money available, effectively. They're a more stable engine. Updates which were going to constantly come online for it. CIG were looking for a structure for Amazon Web Services and servers. So it sort of like makes sense for them to move to Lumberyard from CryEngine. It's just better in a lot of ways and more stable, more financially supported. How about being cabin crew in the Starliner? I mean, it's supposed to be a thing. It's supposed to be a thing, being able to run a Starliner business and be cabin crew, though. The Prowler has me thinking about Tavaran jetpacks. Yeah, I'd like to see ways of surviving in atmosphere when you jump out of a ship or eject. So jetpacks seem like a good way of doing that, or jump packs. I don't want to be able to fly around everywhere, but I do want to be able to survive hitting the ground. Maybe little jump packs giving you a little bit of shh. Will Orcs and players be able to manufacture and sell their own branded products? BoredGamer frozen dinners. I referred to my earlier answers on crafting. If I can sell frozen dinners, though, fucking perfect. I'll be running this world, this verse. When I try and land the caterpillar in areas like Lordville and Area 18, it bugs out and doesn't really register, and then I can't sell cargo. Do you think this will be fixed next patch? Yes, I do think it will be fixed next patch. I think they need to get all that sort of stuff fixed. And they've said that 3.8 should be significantly more playable. When are we getting significant performance increase overall? So we've had quite a lot of performance increases. Server-side container streaming should add to that, as will Vulkan integration, which they're working on at the moment as well. You'll see more and more performance updates from every patch. I don't know when they're going to have this stuff integrated, though, for sure. What brand is most likely to do... Well, actually, when they have released Squadron 42 Episode 1, all of the sort of like optimization and polish from that should come into the Persistent Universe. That should be significant as well. What brand is most likely going to be for Titan suits? Perhaps multiple brands cover different suits, or we just see a new brand for the suits? I don't know what the Titan suits are branded as. Could be Grey Cat. Could be anything. I don't actually know. I haven't got it in my notes either. Will we see more mechs beside the Titan suit? Potentially in the future. They've got actually people that worked on Mech Warrior at CIG. So the Titan suits are more sort of like Iron Man exosuits. But we could see Titans in the future. Do you believe the Redeemer will be able to carry and assault APC? Oh. Yeah, so the Redeemer is going more in gunship rather than dropship. So I'd expect it to be like a support craft for high damage, supporting troops on the ground and during assaults on ships and stations, more than anything else. Will we see the Nova tank released for CitizenCon? I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't heard anything about the Tonk. They have a Titan ship and a Titan suit. They have a Mantis ship and a Mantis guns. They don't seem to object to reusing names. That's a good point. Why not two Hunter ships? I think when they have two things that they wouldn't name two ships Hunter. Do you see what I mean? Where is he reading all these questions from? I've got a program that takes all the questions from various sources. In your opinion, is object container streaming your benchmark and turning point for CIG implementing procedural deck for a big increase in locations, planets, and systems? It's certainly a step towards that. It's always the next thing for Star Citizen. Whether none of it's Jesus patches or God patches, it's a slow burn process. Currently, the bottleneck for large gameplay area is server-side container streaming, and then it will be server meshing, static server meshing, and then it will be dynamic server meshing, and then it will be something else. If I buy all A-grade components on my miss in the PU, will I keep those parts for Pirate Swarm? No. You have to, I believe, currently you have to rent them with Rec. I think they're on separate databases now. I believe. I haven't actually checked. Would the stealthy Prowler dropship be able to remain undetected by a giant sandworm, or would it get eaten? I don't know. It's grav-led, so it depends. Do the sandworms detect vibration or electricity like a shark? And that's what we need. We need to test this. Can you ask about the F7A upgrade? So I think it's safe to assume the F7A upgrade is just going to be a cosmetic skin. As it was like, was it $5 originally? Why is there such a... But I can ask. I can ask. If I get a chance. Why is there such a difference in size capacity with mid-size ships? Seems like the Avenger typically gets classified with the larger and starter ships alike. Sorry for the ignorant. No need to apologise for whatever you thought you were ignorant about. I think that really ship size, classing them small, medium, large vehicle and capital is isn't particularly focused enough as the way of describing ships. That's mostly it, right? Bored. If you ever will you recognize the United States of America as an independent sovereign nation? Thanks, bud. I do recognize it as an independent sovereign traitor nation. I have since the Civil War. Not Civil War, not the what's the other one? The War of Independence. That's the one you had, wasn't it? Your little traitor war. Well, you've done much better than we have. I mean, we've still got Brexit. How long is that gonna roll on for? Monstrous, eh? Thanks, Shay. I do appreciate that. You're a star. Oh, go back to colonialism. Hashtag. Not necessarily my real view. How much will the atmosphere core tech in 3.8 put a dent in your performance? Don't know. But they are working on significantly better scaling, Vulkan support, and optimizations. I mean, you're going to start to see a lot better resource usage on PCs, and that stuff to be a lot less prohibitive. So at the moment, you're seeing, 40 to 50, 40 to 60 frames when you're sort of like in a high impact area if you're on a high-end PC. And then if you're in somewhere that's a bit rough, then it can go down to like 30, 35. Now, I mean, previously we'd be on single digits pre-container object container streaming client side. So, do you think we'll see jump points at CitizenCon? Yes, I do. And the pyro system at least. What kind of external deployable pods can we expect with the Carrack? External deployable pods. What? You can expect drones from it. I'm not sure you can expect. You can expect the Pisces. You can expect a standard rover, the ESA. I'm curious whether we actually are going to see an Anvil rover at some point. Beyond that, I'm not sure if we'll see anything else interesting with the Carrack. Do you mean we're going to see any of the modules we can change with it? The F8, the F7A was a $20 upgrade, but who knows? Okay, I didn't realize it was that much. I thought it was $5. I would expect it just to be more cosmetic, though. So, but I will ask. Asking what sort of UI enhancements they plan to do, Board. Okay. I'm expecting... So they've got a new high-octane game mode at CitizenCon that they're sort of like talking about now. I would expect that probably, based on the way the schedule's working, that to actually be playable at CitizenCon potentially for at least some attendees. So I expect we'll see some dev build stuff and some latest update stuff and this new gameplay mode. So I'm looking forward to that. And there might be some UI updates and stuff like that as well. Some people have said that maybe it's a combined arms game mode. Some people have said it's Satable. Some people say it's Battle Royale. Or it could be. So it's going to be something external to just the persistent universe. I mean, it might exist in the persistent universe as well, but it's going to be like a mode for Star Marine or a mode for Arena Commander or its own new mode. Has there been any news on Vulkan in Star Citizen, either roadmap or otherwise? Yeah, a couple of things. So most recently in Inside Star Citizen yesterday, they talked about actually that they're working on integrating Vulkan currently and getting it into the game, and that obviously is huge. They need it for Squadron 42 Episode 1 as well, so that makes sense. They're using it in their they're testing it with the renderer and sort of like moving stuff over currently. Do you think the Anvil Hawk will get a rework when Bounty Hunting comes out? I think it will get a mechanics rework, and obviously you'll be able to use its bed for putting people in. In 3.8, we're supposed to have hand-to-hand combat as well, which will allow for stun damage. So if you stun someone enough, they will get knocked out rather than killed. And then that's perfect for, putting them in your bounty hunting ship. There's also going to be less than lethal weapons and ammo and stuff like that as well. Right. What is the special use of the Prowler for the Prowler? What makes it different than VTOL thrusters or whatever? I think it's harder to detect. I think you can get very close to a surface. So people have said that maybe it's like quite limpety. I think that CIG said that you couldn't limp it onto a ship, but I think you can get very, very, very close without getting detected. And it's going to be very useful, whether that's in a gravity situation in atmosphere or in space. And I think that's sort of like the idea of that. Did you read the interview that the New York Magazine did with Chris Roberts, linked on Discord last night? The Intelligencer one, I'm going to be doing in a minute a summary of that. Luke Presley is going to be answering questions in a second on Star Citizen Live. So I am going to hop off. And thank you very much to the Gesundheit. I'm going to hop off, grab a drink, chill out for a couple of minutes, and then watch that Star Citizen Live, while also at the same time condensing down that Intelligencer article into a video, and then try and get something up later tonight. But I am shattered. We will go and host someone else. A follow-up question to Bubble Pods on the belly. These are pods and modules. I'm not sure what we'll see for the Carrack then. For the Caterpillar, we should see huge range of pods and modules. I think starting next year we'll start to see more sort of like the modularity and them talking about modularity, because they've probably got physicalized components done, and then they can, after that, then they cut the modularity and treat them in the same way. What if a bounty knocks you out first and then steals your ship, but it's shoot them? Yeah, but you might get more money for bringing them in alive. Yeah? What kind of ship do you think the Ironville Pisces will be? Well, it's going to be a snub ship, so expect it to be similar size to the like P-52, P-72. Probably scout orientated, so maybe it's got some better sensors or environmental sort of protection. Maybe less focused on combat, so it might not even have any weapons. It might be useful as like a little runabout. Some people have also originally said that maybe it can carry a vehicle, which would be cool if it can, but I'm not holding my hope out on that. Right. Going to Twitch and see what else. I don't think I'm that overall positive about the project. I'm sort of like, I'm enthusiastic. I really love Star Citizen. I love the community. I love the project. I love the premise of the game. I really enjoy it on so many levels. I love the devs. I love the people I met there. I like the way I'm able to. Well, I like the way they produce news on it. So there's so many things I like. It's a slow burn. Don't like that. I'm like really slow. It's such a weird polarized game as well. Like there's really aggressive community stuff when it comes to people hating on Star Citizen, and then you've got some very extreme white knights. But I mean, you get that in the community anyway. And I don't even like that term, to be honest. The polarization on the other side is so extreme. It's so weird. So like, oh, the game's shit, and it's all gonna you're all gonna commit suicide and stuff. And I'm like, okay, chill, bro. So yeah, polarization's weird. I'm not a fan of polarization or anything. Typically, I find that you can be wrong about something. Don't be afraid of being wrong. Failure is an option. All that sort of stuff. Talk about things. Communicate. Polarized ideas and opinions are pretty much never good. Just find out what other people think and why they think that, and be civil about it. Bam. Be civil. Why not be civil? You can have totally different opinions, or totally different view than someone else. They might have a totally different background, living and whatever than you, and they have totally different ideas about how they interpret the world. Talk to them, and then both be civil. And if you don't agree, you can both move on. Both slightly more enlightened about the other person's point of view. That's why I see stuff anyway. But anyway, we're getting slightly overly political. I just picked up Star Citizen, and I wanted to thank you for all your YouTube content. Thank you very much, Serpine. Appreciated. Star of the stream. I mean, you're not. Robert Johnson is, because he gives me lots of money, and then shite after that. I appreciate that. Love you guys. You're the fucking best. What else we got? Sean Stevenson, you gave me money. I love you. Oh, the best. Robert66. Robert. Thank you very much for the sub. Grast for the bits. We've got a few other people subbing. Sorry if I missed you. I mean, I might think you later or something. Who fucking knows? Drake or Riot? No. Riot! But yes, thank you very much for the love. Very much appreciated. We are going to go and host Super Mac Brothers. Because I love his face. So give him some love. We are all going to be going to CitizenCon very shortly. I'll be there this time next week. If anyone else is around for CitizenCon, it'd be great to see you, to have a drinky poos with you, to maybe get an interview from you or whatever. Question: since the Carrack is an anvil and the arrow's anvil, shouldn't the arrow be able to fit in the Carrack's landing bay? No! You might be able to, but I don't think you'll be able to do it safely, and we'll have to wait and see exactly how big that is. But yes, give Super Mac Brothers some love, and we will go and host him. Bam, we'll raid him, probably. And then remember that Star Citizen Live is on in about 10 minutes. And he looks like he's going to be doing a live showing of it. So give him some love. I'll try and join in on his channel in a minute. But yeah, take care, guys. Peace. Love you. Oh, if you want to add some more questions for me to ask devs at CitizenCon, or topics or things you want me to do there, make sure you message me at contact@boredgamer.co.uk. Go on my Discord and drop the question in there. Go into my last video before last, talking about CitizenCon questions. You can see there my list of questions that I had yesterday, compiled, and some topics and stuff I'll be covering. You can check it in the comments there. Get me the question. I'll see if it's a sensible question, and I'll ask it if appropriate. Love you guys very much. You take care. Thanks for the love. Thanks for joining me today, and I will talk to you real soon. Peace.